is fine, all that is a different matter. It's about awareness. I think it's critical for us to understand this framework and how it applies to us, specifically when you talk about these disruptive technologies or new age technologies. That's all I have to say. I hope it was useful. Thank you.
Before we go to Ramandeep, I just want to ask you, you said this about blogging. Is that the individual responsible, or if you have a blog on a corporate website, if you have a corporate blog, where does the legal implications?
See, one of the things about our regulations is it's up to interpretation.
It's up to interpretation.
So the way you read it is that the person who's written the blog is responsible for it.
So corporates can be protected?
No, I didn't say that.
No, I'm not saying.
So the thing is about this is you need to take a individual case and analyze it. So on an independent level, whoever writes the blog is responsible for the content is put up there. But if the content is put up on the company's network, okay, you can look at it in a very different way. Because that's a network which a CEO owns. And it's a very different interpretation. When I was the CISO of a large company, and the CEO of that company was one Mr. Somittal, who is the head of NASCOM right now. And I used to look at least 2 or 3 cases against him per month. Because all cases in cybercrime are against the CEO of the company.
Wow. Okay, thanks. Ramandeep.
Good afternoon. So, as the other speakers, Samir and Raghu has put in the thought of transformation or the adaptation of the different way of putting the businesses on the framework of collaboration, on the framework of doing businesses in a very open environment. The prime fact, apart from what Samir said, as very, very rightly, the people, the processes, and definitely the tools. So, incidentally, the tools is the first place or the foremost place where the CIOs or the IT managers or the security information officers start putting the first thoughts. And the most important fundamental reason for going to the cloud services or the collaboration services for the CEOs or the CXOs is bringing the business more open, at the same time bringing the cost of operations by the virtue of sharing of the resources or the sharing of the infrastructures. So whenever I address the data center administrators or the IDC advisors, they always come with the concern that when we are sharing the resources, the most important thing which the customer whom they are servicing the cloud services are asking about the fundamental security controls which have been put in the place. So those fundamental security concerns today are getting addressed in the collaboration. So we are talking to many IDCs, we're talking to many telecom operators who are putting all those appropriate security controls in place to diversify the models of operations in a very collaborative environment. One such models are like virtualization security. We've been talking about virtualized environments, we've been talking about putting the grids in the data centers. So the most important layer, which is a virtualized hypervisor kind of layers, they are being today having the products which can protect the risks which propagate from one customer environment to another customer environment in those grid computing environments or on those hypervisor environments. So that's the first level of controls which most of the IDCs are putting in place. Then there are some services which are transparent security controls and some are non-transparent security controls. Now access controls or the authorization wherein you as a corporate wants to decide what kind of users should be able to connect to your cloud services is the security policy decision which should be dependent on your management or the security policies. So all those virtualized management controls, etc. are also available in the today's set of products which are being targeting or which are being targeted for the IDC space or the virtualized cloud space, wherein the management function for deciding the access control is very much in the hands of your administrator, so you do not lose the security control for that matter. The other are the non-transparent security controls, wherein whether the users or whether a user A is talking to your infrastructure or user B is talking to your infrastructure, it is immaterial the kind of security threat he is bringing, like a threat of a virus or a worm, which doesn't matter whether it's an authorized user or an unauthorized user. The menace of a worm or a virus is a common to authorized as well as a non-authorized user accessing your infrastructure. So the security control layer 2, which gets built up at the IDC space, is basically a virus worm protection without knowing the content of a user, without knowing the access of a user, whether it's an authorized or an unauthorized user space. So what I said is the access control is very much in your hands as your own security administrators can manage that framework to decide authorized versus unauthorized. At the same time, the content which is coming into your infrastructure, which is being hosted at some cloud space or another outsourced space, that infrastructure bringing a content like a worm or a virus is also having a security controls today to protect your infrastructure or your services. The third kind of controls which probably we are seeing coming from the product vendors or are available in the product space are basically the collaborative resources. So when we talk about collaboration, the mobility becomes a very, very fundamental driving factor for collaboration. So in the mobility, the biggest challenge which we see when the people travel, when the people try to connect to to the corporate resources or to the cloud services, is the very fact of the desktop or a laptop they are using to connect to your infrastructure. So that's another security concern as a CISO or a CIO you always have, that what kind of threats they can bring into your cloud or they can bring into your corporate infrastructure. So in that scenario, there are solutions which are available which can virtualize your desktop, and they can make desktop restricted with the set of applications which are authorized to be used by your corporate resources when they are mobile. So that's what exactly, whether they are connecting from a mobile station, or they're connecting from internet cafe, or they're connecting from their home PCs, or they're connecting from any handheld devices. The security layer which your desktop is providing or provisioning in your campus is equally available on these mobile devices. So that's a third set of controls which are provisioning the collaboration, or which are enabling the people to work the business in a very open environment. Then another thing which Sami said is the open server architecture. When we are collaborating in the open server architecture,